bestie, welcome back to Result of Fashion. Hope you have a wonderful day. Today's episode is going to be on how to cut 6 pieces cake using flowered crepe fabric to cut it out. This time around is not Ankara, is not lace. It's this particular fabric that I'm going to use to cut out the 6 pieces skirt. So the first folding is going to be into 2 because my 6 pieces skirt is going to be in pieces. I'm cutting my front first before this 2 side fronts, then the center back where the zip is going to be, or you might not put zip while adding an elastic cover, and also the 2 side back. This is after folding the fabric into 2 with the wideness of 10.5 inches to cut out the center front. But before then, I want to take the full length of the skirt, which I'll be making use of 43 inches. 43 inches. The 43 inches is with the same allowance. You can see 43 inches is with the same allowance. Then I'm going to take the nail point. The nail point here is going to be 20. It's not constant. If you want to sew any 6 skirt for your client, you have to take the measurement of the nail point. This is the area at which you are going to slant it. And don't let it be on the knee, let it be above the knee a little bit. Then this is what we use here. We use 3.5 inches. The distance of the 2 balls, that is what we use here, which is 3.5 inches. So is that 3.5 inches that I'm going to take down? Then I added ½ inch for the seam allowance to make it 4 inches. So this is 4 inches I'm taking down. The initial measurement I took at this up also is 4 inches. So I'll now connect everything together to be on a straight line to 20 inches. To that 20 inches, the nail point. You can see. Please don't mind my chalk. It's not writing properly on the fabric. But by the time I cut it out, you're going to see it clearly. So I'm stopping at 20 inches, which is the nail point. You call it the nail point, but it's going to be above the knee so that your client will be able to work properly. So from here, I'm going to slant it down to the full length of the skirt. This is after slanting it. The nice thing here is to cut it out. By the time I cut it out, you're going to see how the shape is going to look nice. The shape of the center front. This is cutting of the center front to the nail point. From this nail point, then you slant it down to the full length of the skirt. So the slanting is just the wideness of what you folded out. So I'm handing it out that wideness of 10.5 inch, you can see. Then I'm going to cut it out at this point. The 10.5 wideness for the center is not constant. You can make use of higher measurement. It depends on the fabric you're using, and it depends on how full you want your 6 pieces to be. You understand? I'm done with the cuttings now. Then I will now take this aside. Then this is the center front. The first thing we cut out here is the center front. So I'll now fold another fabric into 2. I can make the fabric to be of the same wideness. What do I mean by that? No, the wideness we used here was 10.5 inches. So this cutting of the side front is going to be an opened one. We are not going to fold it. If you are folding it, you're just folding it into 2 to cut the 2 side front. But the main cutting is not going to be in fold. So this is how we do it. Since we have 10.5, when you open it, it's going to be for 21 inches. And I told you this particular one is also opened one. Then the wideness of this line is now 25 inches. That means it's 4 inches wider than the center front. So it's okay. We're trying to minimize our fabric. You can make it 10 inches more down. You can make it 20 inches more down. It depends on how wide, how full you want your 6 pieces to be. So after folding it out, we are done. We are okay with the wideness. Then you will now fold your center front back. Then make sure your center front face you this way. You can see the way the center, after I folded it into 2 back, then you can see the way I face it to myself. And let this point of the center front be here. You see the way I'm going to set it very well now. I'll make sure I set it properly. I'm done with the set. You can see how the edge is touching the other edge there, at the down part of the skirt. You're going to see it by the time I'm cutting it out. Now cut it now. You can see, you see the hair that I'm talking about now at the down part here, straight down to the knee as well. So all this side I'm cutting out, they are just they're going to turn to pieces. So that's why they used to say 6 pieces waist clothes. You can see this edge I'm talking about. Make sure when you're placing, make sure the edge is touching this edge. You can see the edge that I just cut out. Yes, they are going to be the same at that edge. Then you will now cut it this way. Just cut it a little bit. You're not going to cut it through. Just cut it a little bit like this. Then you face it to the other side again. You face it to the other side again like this. And make sure the center front is ½ inch on the side front that you want to cut out. The ½ inch is just for seam allowance. You can see the way I'm placing it, ½ inch on the side front. So this is the area. After you place it perfectly this way, you can now take the proper measurements. So at this point, my own ear, I want the elastic to be here. That means the hip measurement will be the same thing as the waist measurement, and the hip measurement here is 40. So this is 10 inches. Then I'll now take the hip point to be 9 inches. Then the wideness of the hip as well is going to be 40 as well. That's 10. Then I'm going to add a seam allowance of 2 inches to it. Then the same thing applicable to the upper part. I've added seam allowance of 2 inches, but because of the hip point, I'm adding 1 inch to it, making 3 inches. But the waist, I just added 2 inches to it, but they are the same wideness. So before you can slant it at the side front, you have to know the knee point. So I want to draw it out here, but let me just take the measurement from up to get the exact point at which it is. Don't let me do it from this point. So taking the measurement from up to this place of 20 inches, you can see 20 inches. Then that's the point we are coming to. I will now make this area like this. The one that I see here is just 38 inches. I don't want the knee to come I don't want it to come in at the knee that much. I don't want the knee part to be tight, so I just come in a bit, then I go out. You see the shape now. You can see at the side front also, I determine my knee point just to know where to slant. You can see I just come in a bit, then from here I slant my hand out to the wideness of what I folded out. I'm using the whole wideness. You can see where the other one reach. You can see I use the whole wideness. So we are done with the cutting of the side front, the two side front, the center front. You can see, so is this particular side front that we're going to use to cut the two side back as well. Then we're going to use the center front to cut the center back. But our center back, in case if you're going to add a zip to it, that means you're going to place it in such a way that it's going to have zip allowance like this. You see the way I'm going to place it out. So I'm just placing it. If at all I want to add my zip to it, this is how it's going to be. So you can see this is 1 inch for the seam allowance. It's not constant depending on the allowance you want to add for your zip. So I will now cut it out. I'm done with the cutting. You can see, so I've cut out the center back. So I'm going to divide that area into two. This particular line, I'm going to divide it into two. No, this is where zip is going to pass through in case if you're adding zip. But here I'm still going to close it because I'm going to add my elastic cover to it. But for those who that want to add zip to it, that's why I'm cutting this side for them. Then if you are adding a zip to your waist, that means you're not going to make your waist excess. You're not going to make the same hip measurement as the waist. You're going to make a normal waist measurement. Then you add your zip to the back. With this now, I'm going to use one of the side front to cut the two side back. So you can see the way I use side front to cut out the two side back. So this is center front, this is the center back with zip allowance. You can see the two, and this four now is the two side front and the two side back. And this particular style, particular skirt, is going to have a facing, and here is my facing. I'm going to cut the facing the way I cut the skirt. The facing is also going to be in pieces, but it's going to reach the knee point. It's going to be a half facing, it's not going to be full. So let me go and join everything together and show you the finishing. Welcome back. Yeah, the finished work so far. This is after stitching the 6 pieces skirt. You can see the line of the pieces. You can see after we join it, this is the elastic rubber that we added to the band. I just fold it in. I didn't add any band to it, so I folded it with 1 inch because the hip point should be 8 inches, but I used 9 inches, so is that 1 inch that I folded in. So you can see the inner that I said is going to reach before the knee point. You can see the inner that I added to the 6 pieces skirt. You can see how beautiful this turns out. You can see the top on it, the peplum top on it. You can see how beautiful it is. If you are watching it for the first time, what are you waiting for? Please subscribe to my channel for more amazing tutorials, and for those people that have already subscribed,